It's that time of year again. Let's have a look at how we got on with our goals for 2020 and set some new goals for 2021 as well. Hiya folks, welcome back to the Small Business Toolbox. I'm Andy Mack and I've run my own business for most of my life. Before I start, Happy New Year. I know it's a little bit late, but things have been very, very busy, as you will see once I start showing you some of my goals for 2021. For me, goal setting is an essential part of running a business. I've always set goals for myself and I've always found it works really, really well to make sure that I'm kind of focusing my energies in the right places throughout the year. And for me, I find setting goals in January works really well. I review them periodically throughout the year. I make sure they're all SMART objectives. We've talked about that in previous episodes. I'll not go into that in a huge amount of detail today. The main reason I'm doing this is to just give you some ideas of goals that you can maybe set yourselves, the kind of format that I do it in, how I review it, what the SMART objectives are, what to do when you just completely fail to hit your goals as well, because by no stretch of the imagination am I claiming that I can hit every single goal that I give myself. If you are finding that you're consistently hitting every goal, then you might want to give yourself either more goals or slightly more difficult goals. But I'm going to be painfully honest with everything. I'm going to take you through how I got on with my goals from 2020. Very strange year, 2020. I'll stop whittering on now. Let's just get to it and have a look at how we got on from our 2020 goals to start with. So the first thing you're going to notice is that I've switched away from Google Keep for managing all of this. Switching away from Google Keep is part of, we'll talk about it a little bit later on, but part of an overall strategy that I've got in 2021 of really moving away from big tech as much as possible and trying to use a lot more kind of independent products or open source products and things like that. Just trying to reduce my reliance on big tech for a lot of things because, things are a little bit weird at the minute and I just don't want to be completely dependent on one provider for a certain thing. So, as you can see here, what we've done is switched over to LibreOffice, and this is LibreOffice Calc. So anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit more later on. As per usual, what we'll do is I'll show you the core goals that we set up at the beginning of 2020, and we'll see whether or not I completed them, and then we'll go through any extra goals that I created throughout the year, and then I'll show you my new goals for 2021 as well. To make it a bit easier to read, I'll split it up by business nodes. So GHM, that's Gosforth Handyman. SBT is Small Business Toolbox, the channel that you're watching at the minute. Then we've got BD, which is beginner drums and basically everything drum related that I do. And then AMD, it's actually Andy Mack Drums, but that's turned into Andy Mack Farms, but I still use AMD as an abbreviation for everything on that side of things. It's just, I can't be bothered changing it. Again, we'll come back to that later on. But we'll start off with Gosforth Handyman. Gosforth Handyman is obviously one of my main sites. If you're not familiar with it, just visit gosforthhandyman.com and you'll see what that's all about. But it's basically property maintenance and everything related to property maintenance in the UK. So the first goal for the YouTube channel was to get up to 120,000 subscribers. If you remember at the start of the year, we were at 70,800. And we did that. We hit 135,000 by the end of the year. So we actually completed that by the 20th of October. 40 new blog articles? No, I failed miserably on that again. I only managed to have time to create about 5 blog articles. I'm really, really struggling on that side of things to get stuff done, but sometimes other things have to take priority, and at the moment, getting the blog up to date and getting all of the website articles up to date, I have failed miserably on, and I'm going to try and set a more realistic target for 2021 on that. So watch this space. At least 40 new videos. Yes, managed to do 49 new videos and hit the 40 mark on the 9th of October, I believe, for that. So only a 50% success rate on the core goals, but if we add in the extra goals, we've got quite a few extra things here that ended up happening. Hit the 100,000 subscriber milestone in July of 2020. That was a really major event for the channel, something I've been aiming towards for a long time, so very, very happy about that. Something that wasn't really on the cards at all at the start of the year, or I don't think it was, but built a full membership platform, effectively replacing Patreon, and that was done by October 2020. That is really a huge thing, and it increases the independence of the channel. It means I'm not reliant on Patreon for memberships anymore, and it's gone really, really well. Really pleased with that. I've started a whole new series of articles all about Great Park and new build houses and whatnot. You can read about that on the Gosforth Handyman website if you want to, but it's in progress, and it's an extra thing that wasn't really planned. That started in October 2020. Sourcing my own clothing for the Gosforth Handyman shop. Again, trying to get away from a lot of these outsourced providers like Teespring and bringing it all in-house and trying to farm off stuff to local small businesses for creation of these products. And that has started. That started in October 2020 as well, with our own t-shirts that we now sell through the shop. Obviously, we'd done tape measures and pencils and all that sort of thing before, but we've now actually got our own clothing brand through that, so that is up and running. Early days, watch this space, but at least it's a start. And of course, the big thing on this channel is our renovation project that we started in December. We finally managed to get that over the line, to get the house purchased, and that was really, really held up by the COVID side of things and whatnot, but it's underway now. That is a huge project in its own right, and that is taking over from everything at the moment because it's such a big project. Over at the Small Business Toolbox, we started the year on 6,780 subscribers. We were aiming to get to 15,000, and we actually ended up at 16,000 by the end of the year. So we hit the goal by, I think it was the 1st of December that we hit the 15,000 subscriber mark. I wanted to get a mailing list up and running on that channel, and that was done actually right at the start of the year. So around 15th of January, I believe that was done. In terms of hitting video targets, I wanted to get at least 20 new videos on this channel, on the Small Business Toolbox channel, and I did 22. So yes, we hit that, and we hit the 20th video on the 29th of October 2020. Complete at least 2 public speaking events. Unfortunately, because of COVID, all of the events that I had planned were cancelled, and that seems to be the case across the board for a lot of people doing public speaking. Very frustrating, not a lot I can do about it, but yeah, such is life. So I have missed out on that, but hopefully we'll get things back on track for 2021. Build at least 1 online course, not on the Small Business Toolbox channel, but I've just put CBD because beginner drums, we have done that on the Beginner Drums channel, or the Drum 101 channel. And then in terms of extra goals, the stuff that's kind of materialized throughout the year and wasn't originally planned, build a site membership platform. Again, getting off Patreon doesn't affect the public content on this channel, but again, it's all coming in line with one of the general goals that we're going to talk about later on, which is getting away from big tech as much as possible, trying not to be as reliant on one single entity such as Google. So yeah, so the membership platform for this site was up and running around September, which is great, and that also included a complete website refresh as well. So it's been busy on the Small Business Toolbox side of things. Over on the Beginner Drums side of things, new logo, new thumbnails, new titles, new descriptions, complete tidy up of the website, and removing all affiliate links because I'm trying to move away from Amazon as much as possible. Again, trying to remove that dependency on one single big entity and to try and spread things out over lots of smaller providers. I think that's going to be a much better long-term strategy for this business. All of this was completed around May 2020, and then if we look at the extra goals on the drumming side of things, full website refresh completed around that time as well, built a full courseware and e-learning platform for learning how to play the drums. That's over on drum101.com, so that is all up and running and working, and a huge amount of work went into getting that up and running. and built a mailing list for that as well. So all of that was done around May time, and yeah, it's just kind of ticking over. It's not a core channel because unfortunately it just doesn't really make enough money for the amount of work that goes into that side of things. Music industry is a very, very difficult side of things to make money from. We've talked about that before in the past, but at the same time, I don't want all the work I've put into that to go to waste. And then finally, on last year's goals, my Andy Mac Drums channel, I did have a goal to have at least 10 new videos on that channel. I actually created 39 new videos on that channel because that channel has evolved into a new kind of gaming channel, which is now called Andy Mac Farms, and it's just basically, you know, if in doubt, record it and make a video out of it and shove it on YouTube and see what happens. And that actually is doing quite well at the moment, so yeah, we'll see where that goes. It's just a bit of fun really, but that channel, my Andy Mac Drums channel, is my original channel on YouTube, and I've had it for almost 10 years, so it would be a shame to let it go to waste. And yeah, so I hit the 10 video mark on the 18th of March 2020, and then this has got a whole load of extra goals associated with it as well, because my original drumming content from the Andy Mac Drums channel is now all being switched over to the Beginner Drums channel. That means re-editing every video from scratch and redoing all the graphics and everything. There's quite a lot of work involved in doing that, but it kind of made sense not to have two drumming channels and put all the drumming related stuff onto the Beginner Drums channel. And then, as I say, the AMD, the Andy Mac Drums channel, is now called Andy Mac Farms, and that's for gaming content. So the content switch over to Beginner Drums happened around the 8th of June. That included a full channel refresh and rebrand, and uploading new gaming content to the channel as well. Then finally, there was a whole load of general kind of goals as well that, I can't remember, were these all extras? Yeah, these are all extras from 2020. So these all crept in over the course of the year, just the way the year kind of panned out. Very strange year, 2020, as you're all more than aware. Stop using Google Analytics. Again, my focus on privacy and moving away from big tech, I wanted to stop using Google Analytics, and I started using Coco Analytics. I've made a video all about that. There'll be lots more on the privacy side of things coming in 2021, but yeah, I think it's a really, really important thing, certainly for my businesses, and I would advise it for your businesses as well, that you really seriously look into how dependent you are on one single provider. Or for example, if you're using cloud services, I've already harped on about how dangerous cloud services can be for certain functions of your business. You know, cloud is amazing for certain things, it's terrible for other things. I've harped on about it a lot, and I'm going to be harping on about it even more throughout 2021, so watch this space. Vendor lock-in is a big problem, and it's going to turn into a bigger problem for a lot of businesses. Switch to cookie-free and privacy-focused websites is something that I've really been putting a lot of work into throughout 2020. You'll notice if you go onto any of my websites, you don't get annoying cookie pop-ups and cookie warnings because I don't use cookies unnecessarily. I only use functional cookies. I don't even use cookies for analytics anymore. Everything is as privacy-focused as it can be. It's called data protection by design and default, and again, it's going to be something I'm going to be talking about a lot more in 2021, so watch this space. Deactivate all Twitter accounts. In all honesty, you know, Twitter is just a hellhole of a platform. I've never particularly liked Twitter. I've never had any particular dependence on Twitter, and in my view it's just got worse and worse over the years of just being really, really horrible content that's on there. I don't think it's a particularly good thing for the human race at all. I don't think it brings out the best in people, and as such, around July 2020 I deleted all of my Twitter accounts, and I haven't looked back. Switching office platform now. This is a new one that very, very briefly touched on earlier, but I really want to reduce my dependence on Microsoft for products and being tied into, again, Microsoft are heavily going down the cloud platform now and the Office 365 platform. It's almost impossible now to buy Microsoft Office as a standalone product. and you'll find that you'll just get pushed down this Office 365 route where you're into a never-ending subscription, and if you start to rely on that and then you want to get away from it, it can be quite difficult. So I decided a good idea was probably to switch to an open source platform, and I've ended up on LibreOffice. And to be honest, so far so good. Again, it's something I'm going to be talking about throughout the year, but LibreOffice is free. All I really use is Microsoft Word and Excel, and it's completely free. I have completely ditched Microsoft Office. It's awesome. I will let you know how I get on. But you are looking at LibreOffice Calc here. This isn't Excel. This is a free spreadsheet program. This is Calc, part of the LibreOffice suite. Anyone can use it, anyone can download it, you can open Excel spreadsheets in it. I haven't had any problems so far, so certainly something worth considering. Again, you'll see what I touched on before, start to reduce dependency on big tech. This is something that's in progress, and I've also been tightening up on things like security, two-factor authentication across the board now. It's something you've got to take seriously. I've talked about it on videos throughout 2020, but yeah, if you're not using two-factor authentication to get into your most important accounts, then please make sure you look into that as quickly as possible. So overall, I think we've done pretty well for 2020. We've hit the vast majority of the core goals, and we've also got a whole load of extra goals that weren't in there in the first place. There's a couple of things that I just couldn't do business-wise because of COVID, sadly, but such is life. A couple of things obviously on the blog article side where I just failed miserably. Honestly, I'm terrible at getting articles written. I'm fine once I get into the frame of mind of writing, and I do enjoy writing blog articles, and it's the sort of thing that I can't really outsource, and I have to do it myself because I'm too much of a control freak. But I think I just need to be a little bit more realistic about how many I'm going to get done, and that neatly leads us on to what our goals are going to be for 2021. So I'll take you through these as quickly as I can because this video is going to end up being very long otherwise, but I'd like to get to 200,000 subscribers on Gosforth Handyman. Obviously we're starting the year at 135,000, so I think that's doable. Having said that, we have got the renovation project, and the renovation is a huge amount of extra work on top of everything else that's going on. So we shall see. It's one of those things where the renovation work generates a lot of video content, so it could work in favor of the channel, but at the same time, having time to make the videos when you're doing all the renovation work means that it is harder to get the videos done. 10 new blog articles instead of 40. Let's see if that's a little bit more realistic for 2021. At least 40 new public videos. I think that should be doable. Hopefully one a week with any luck. At least 12 new member-only videos and articles, so around one a month. But I'm hoping to do more than that. But again, it's just trying to get the time to get everything done that I want to get done. Get the Great Park series of videos up to date. That won't make any sense unless you go onto the Gosforth Handyman website, but if you go onto gosforthhandyman.com, you'll see there's a whole series of articles about new build houses and the history of the Great Park housing estate and how it's evolved over the years, and I want to get that completely up to date. Add 5 new products to the store, and again, going down the route of making sure they're independently sourced products from hopefully local suppliers, or certainly from small businesses, which is a major aim of the channel. Again, getting away from that kind of reliance on big tech. Get affiliate links up to date. My affiliate links on Gosforth Handyman are wildly out of date. I kind of half managed to get them up to date before Christmas, and then never managed to get them finished, which is just typical. Send out at least 6 newsletters. Stop using Amazon affiliate links. Now, you're probably going to be asking, why am I going to bother getting affiliate links up to date if we're going to stop using them? And the reason is, again, it's surrounding this whole dependence on big tech. And I don't particularly like the route that we're going down with Amazon, where they are turning into the default shop for literally everything. And yeah, I've got a couple of ideas on that side of things. So watch this space. I'm hoping really by the end of 2021, by the end of this year, to have stopped using Amazon for affiliate links completely, but I wouldn't like to guarantee that's going to happen. Again, it depends on time constraints and whatnot, but we shall see. Stop using MailChimp for mailing list. Again, it's that reliance on big tech thing. It's not rocket science what MailChimp are doing, it's just easy. But there are ways and means I can potentially host my own mailing lists. We shall see. That's kind of a jury's out thing. I've got nothing against MailChimp. It's just I don't like being reliant on one single cloud type platform for anything, especially this day and age. Small Business Toolbox, it would be really nice if we can get this channel up to 30,000 subs, which would pretty much double it. We started the year on 16,000, so we'll see. If you haven't hit subscribe, then please do so. At least 20 new public videos, at least 5 new member-only videos and articles. And then I've just set a couple of goals for Beginner Drums and the Andy Mac Drums or Andy Mac Farms channel as well. See if I can get it to 7,000 subscribers. I really haven't got a lot of spare time to devote to those channels, so they're at like 5,500-ish at the minute. Whether or not I can get it to 7,000, I don't know. We'll see. I've still got a lot of Andy Mac Drums content that needs to be re-edited and uploaded onto the Beginner Drums channel, so that might give it a little bit of a boost. We'll see. And Andy Mac Farms, if I can get that up to 6,000 subs and at least 12 new videos on that channel, that would be nice. And then in terms of general goals, switching from Microsoft Excel to LibreOffice Calc for everything. I've still got a few Excel spreadsheets that I'm using that I need to convert over to ODS format, which is LibreOffice kind of file format for spreadsheets. And yeah, it's not a big job. It's just I need to sit down and tweak a couple of things here and there. But generally speaking, it's as complicated as opening it and then saving it as an ODS file. There's very little stuff that doesn't work in Calc that used to work in Excel. It works in pretty much the same way. There's the odd little kind of quirk here and there. We'll talk about it on a video at some point, I'm sure. And then, as I say, this is it's not a very smart objective, this. Continue reduce dependence on big tech. How do you measure that? But hopefully by the end of the year, I can just feel a little bit more comfortable that I'm not as reliant on things like, Gmail, YouTube. One of the things that I haven't really talked about much on these goals is that I am seriously considering having an alternative video hosting platform other than YouTube. I do already use Vimeo for a lot of like courseware content and membership only content, so I do already use Vimeo, but whether or not I should maybe start uploading some of the core content from Gosforth Handyman and Small Business Toolbox to the likes of Rumble or BitChute or Library or something like that, I'm not sure. It is on the agenda. There's a lot of complications on that side of things. I'll maybe talk about that on a future video as well. And I'm also looking to rework my entire backup strategy for data backups, because data backups, when you're dealing with a lot of video data, is generally a little bit of a nightmare because it's too much for online backups. It's simply too much data to send up an internet wire. But at the same time, my current strategy, which is basically dealing with hundreds of hard drives, is cumbersome to say the least. So I'm sure I can come up with something better, get some online backups up and running for maybe smaller amounts of data. We shall see. So that is on the agenda. So there you go, folks. Let us know what you think. Let me know what your goals are for 2021 in the comments below. You don't have to go into a huge amount of detail, but maybe just one or two of your key objectives. Putting it down there in writing and making it public with the world can really help focus your mind on making sure that you get those goals done. As I've said many times, when you are setting goals, try to make sure that they are smart objectives, because if you give yourself kind of wishy-washy goals like, I want more business growth in 2021, it's like, how do you measure that at the end of the year? You need something that's very specific and measurable so that you know whether or not you've hit the goal. Lots to come on this channel throughout 2021. We're still living in very strange times, but hopefully there'll be some tips coming up that'll help you get through all of this and maybe even benefit from it in the long run as well. So stick at it. Don't get too despondent about the whole situation. I am confident things are going to get better. But if you do feel the need to vent, then please do so down in the comments below. Take care, folks. I shall see you next time. Tatty bye.